Hey everybody, welcome to a Monday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. As I say every day, this is the show where comedy meets sports. And we have a couple of comedians who always come on and we talk about, basically a lot of things that happen in the sports world. Now these comics have been around in the game for a long time. They've been listen, they've toured, they've done films, they've done everything. But most recently now they're doing this sports show. And let me bring up my man Talent up first. Talent, how you doing, brother? How's everything?
Oh man, exhausted, man. A very good comedy weekend, man. It's Father's Day weekend. It was Juneteenth. It was everything but Christmas.
Yeah, I bet. That sounds good to hear, man. Fig, how was your let me bring in Fig. How was your Father's Day weekend, bro?
Man, it was lovely, man. Did the damn thing. Show after show after show after show.
So okay, shows. Okay. So it seems like y'all worked a little bit and had Father's Day at the same time. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Father's Day is one of those in comedy. It's one of those days, Frank, where you real briefly you get your love early in the morning and all that, but you have to go out and entertain because people need something to take the fathers to.
Yeah,
and, that's who we are.
Yeah. Because even though we all know the bills don't stop, no matter what day of the holiday is, the bills do not stop. So let's get ready to jump into the show, man. First thing I want to talk about is we've been talking about the Olympics for a long time, and I don't know if you guys got this news story this morning, but I was blown away. I had to read it 3 or 4 times, honestly. I've been talking to you guys at home, talking about the Tokyo Olympics, have been saying that they were going to not have people sit there and watch the Olympics and everything else, but Talent, the news came out this morning that the Tokyo Olympics Committee, they're now going to have up to 10,000 local spectators at each event, despite the advice from the doctors that doctors are telling the IOC committee that they do not want people to be sitting there. But the Olympics is, I don't know if they're forcing people, but the Olympics have stated they're preparing now to have 10,000 people at least up into the event. Where now we all know last week there was supposed to be no spectators, no Olympic committee people, barely even any athletes, and something happened. I don't know what happened, but money talks, BS walks. Ain't that right, Talent? You tell me what's going on. What you think?
Well, you know what's going on, man. You hear the word 10,000. Put a dollar sign in front of that. Put the pound sign in front of that. That's money. No matter what kind of money it is, whether it's a cheroot or a dollar bill, 10,000 people equate to dollars. Somebody said, okay, it's time to start figuring out these dollars and cents. Let's allow 10,000 people out there. So you know what that means. That means that we're going to figure a way. Those 10,000 people will become spenders and lenders and all types of stuff. Guaranteed. Money needs to flow.
Exactly. Fig, your thoughts?
I got a different take on this, man. I think what they did in Japan is they went to the prison system and they let out a bunch of prisoners, and that's who's going to be that's who's going to be the fans in the stands. Those that were on death row, they're going to put them in the stands and they're going to take a chance with them. And if they die, they were going to die anyway. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
The funny thing is he might be right. You know what I mean? Like, he might be right. I don't know what happened to Fig. We got to wait till he comes back in. But let me get ready to move on to the next story. It's kind of COVID report type related. But I don't know if you heard about this, Talent. But Cole Beasley, wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills, he said that he ain't getting vaccinated, and nobody's going to make him get vaccinated. Meanwhile, the NFL is dropping a mandate that in order for you to play in the NFL upcoming season, you have to get vaccinated. So Cole Beasley, in return, said, I'm going to retire if you force me to get vaccinated. What's your thoughts on hearing about that, Talent?
I like that. I'm one of those guys who always felt like, you stand for something or you fall for anything. And that seems like to be the epitome of that saying right there. He's right. You can't make me do anything. If you do, then I just won't play your sport because I don't want to do
it. Yeah, I agree with that part. So, Fig, what's your thoughts?
Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face. And Cole Beasley talking about, I ain't getting vaccinated. Can't nobody make me get vaccinated. And the NFL can say, Cole, if you don't get vaccinated, you just go ahead and retire. That's where the rubber meets the road.
It sure is. You know what it is, the guy? you talk a whole lot until you start missing that paycheck. Once you start missing that paycheck, then everything else changes because then you start saying, "Oh, the bills stay the same, but the check is gone." That all that stuff happens too. You know what I mean? So,
but then again, it could become a chain reaction too. Like sometimes it might be one of those things that if you have an inside track on the overall feeling of the majority. Let's say you got a majority that feels the way he feels. And if the league steps in, well, okay, well, you're going to be vaccinated, then you can't play. Then you get 100 players who feel the same way, go, well, then, we ain't getting vaccinated. The league has to make a bigger decision.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? This could be a snowball effect. But the next thing I want to talk about, obviously, we're going to talk about the NBA soon. But the next thing I want to talk about, man, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the U.S. Supreme Court now is ruling. Big news happened this morning. Literally, the news broke at 10 o'clock this morning. They're siding with the student athletes in a case that's going to open the door significantly for the student athletes to be able to get paid playing in college sports. Now, we all know that a couple of months ago, I was literally talking to you guys about saying, hey, there's a couple of leagues that are saying since they're not paying these college athletes, we can start paying you in high school and we can start paying you in this. I don't know now if something has happened behind the scenes, but if the U.S. Supreme Court allows student athletes to start getting paid, that might save the Division I, II, and III in all sports. Talent, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. First of all, you were ahead of the curve on this story, and you said the pressure was going to be on them to do just that. I don't see why it's a big deal. I think that they should just go ahead with that. Make way for that because. Again, it's one of the longest running institutions, especially when it comes to students. So let them get their money, pay them. We already know one thing: pay or no pay ain't gonna be no great deal.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? It ain't gonna be the best, but it's gonna be something. What's your thoughts, Faye?
It was funny. They was all in the meeting. It was like, hey, fellas, it was nice while it lasted. We got to get up off of some of this money. And man, listen. It's a funny thing. It's like, yo, man, you can play for free over here, but on this hand, we can pay you $100,000. Huh? I can play for free over there. I can get $100,000 over there. Is that really a choice? I'm going with $100,000. So now the guys are saying, we need you to play for free. Now they talk about, we got some money too.
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court is going to save these Division I teams and everything. Let me bring my man in, Rodney Perry. Rodney Perry, first and foremost, before we even ask you the question, how was your Father's Day weekend, bro?
Oh, it was incredible, man. I got a chance to work this weekend in Chicago with the this show, myself, TK Kirkland, Red Grant. It was a great weekend, and I got to actually reconnect with my father's family that I've never really spent time with. And so it was cool to kind of meet and meet your family, your paternal family that I've never really been around them. So it was really kind of an Antoine Fisher weekend for me.
Wow, that's dope.
Oh wow, nice.
That's really dope. Okay, so Rodney, what's your thought now on the U.S. Supreme Court ruling for the students? It looks like the students in Division I, II, and III are about to get paid. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean. I'm on the fence about it because, and of course, I want to see the athletes get paid. But if you pay basketball and football, you got to pay everybody. So I'm just wondering how that's going to hash out for the people that do the lesser sports, that aren't in the big sports, how they're going to fare.
Right.
I was going to say that generally in the NCAA. The basketball and football programs subsidize those other sports because those other sports don't really generate an income. So, it's just like everywhere else. You pay the people that make the money. Like if you can bring more butts to the table, you get more money.
All right, let's move on. Let's continue to move on in the conversation because I want to jump into the next thing, which is obviously talking about the NBA that happened over the weekend. There's a lot of hot topics that we got to talk about, and we all know the games because when we were on Friday, there was a couple of Game 7s that came on. But this morning, after I watched the Sixers game, in the Game 7 and Sixers game, man, I'm gonna start with you, Talent, and throw it up there, man. I think Ben Simmons has an issue. He has a problem. We all saw his scoring problem and everything else. So I'm gonna ask you guys first. before we even jump into the game, Count, do you think Ben Simmons should be traded, bro? Because I personally think he should be traded. But I got a Pelican brief, and with my Donald Trump hands, I got a Pelican brief I'm going to drop on y'all in a minute. But tell me, do you think Ben Simmons should be traded? What do you think, Count?
I think Ben Simmons should be traded to tennis. I don't know. I gotta check the bylaws. Is it possible the inter-sports trading? You know, can a NBA team trade a player to a tennis something like that? But yeah, I think it's something mental going on. There's something mental going on. You can see it on the court. I believe something's going on up here.
Okay, Craig, do you think Ben Simmons should be traded?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't make him my point guard. I don't think that positionless basketball works. And just because a guy can handle a ball, I don't necessarily think he needs to be a point guard because he's having problems shooting. But I think he does offer enough to a team where if you change his position, he could be an asset to your team. So do you trade him? If you're going to keep him as a point guard, yes. If you're going to move him to forward, and I think you can keep him and get somebody else. You know, I'm going to just say this, Frank, then I'm gone. The Sixers got a lot of mental problems down there with their players because the same thing happened to Markelle Fultz. All of a sudden, this kid was good when he was in college and stuff. Then he gets to the Sixers, and all of a sudden, he can't hit the broadside of a barn with a basketball. Something wrong with that. What's going on?
I don't know if I would use Markelle Fultz as an example because when he went to Orlando, he still can't hit the broadside of the thing. You know what I mean? He still ain't doing that good. I don't know if that's Sixers' fault. Rodney Curry, do you think that should trade Ben Simmons?
Should they trade Ben Simmons? I like the kid, man. The guy has so many upsides, and he definitely has some challenges shooting. He's missing free throws. He's missing, at least he was going to the basket, getting baskets around the rim, and he's not even doing that right now. And he's foregoing that stuff to pass. And you like, yo, man, what's going on? So I think I agree with Tyler, man. Maybe something is wrong with the guy, and maybe we can get him over there playing badminton or something.
Batman. All right, this is my Pelican brief, right? I was sitting on this last night after I saw this and everything else. I agree with one thing Fig said about trading him, moving him into a different position. But if he has to stay, I think they should get Kyle Lowry and have moved him to the point. If Kyle Lowry's from Philly, you know what I mean? If Kyle Lowry comes to the team and they want to keep him, then I can see them doing that. I can see Ben Simmons staying for Philly if they get Kyle Lowry. But my Pelican brief is, if I'm Philly, I would trade him to Miami, and I would trade him for I forgot Tyler. What's that boy, the white boy who can shoot? I would trade him for him.
Tyler Hero?
Yeah, for Tyler Hero. I would trade him to Tyler Hero because if Ben Simmons ends up going down there with Jimmy Butler is the right veteran, I think, who can help him with tutelage to help him learn and help him get out of his mind and would be up in his face if he makes some mistakes. You know what I mean? And plus, he already knows him already. You know what I mean? Like, they have the history. They already know each other and everything else. I think that might be a good move for him and everything else. But let's just say he gets traded, right? Let's look for giggle's sake. If he gets traded, where would you like to see Ben Simmons land at? Where would you like to see him at?
Well, I would like to see him play, to be honest with you, on Serena Williams' team. I think the whole light skin, dark skin thing will bring us together as a people. But if he gets traded, I really think that Ben Simmons needs to go to a West Coast team.
Why?
Well, because even though he doesn't have a jumper, you got to admit that he can run the floor. If he has any asset, it's in his running the floor and able to slash and be out on the break and stuff like that. And that's West Coast ball. They always push the fast break and up and down the court. He fits, and I watch him play, he fits with a West Coast team. Now, you probably got to go to one of the teams who's not living and dying by the three-pointer, obviously, for him to be an asset. because he doesn't have a jump shot. You know what I mean? But I think that Ben Simmons' problem is the people around him as well. You know, I think the Sixers, man, I said it all year, give it time and wait for them to implode, and it got to that point.
Okay. Greg, if Ben Simmons gets traded, where would you like to see him land?
A team that is it needs defense first and foremost. So I'd like to see him maybe in Portland or maybe on the Nets, because he brings enough defense to the team where he could be serviceable, and those guys have bona fide offensive threats. Like, they don't need Ben Simmons to score 1 point.
Okay, so you're saying if he goes to Portland, before I throw it to Rodney Perry, because he has such a huge contract, that Portland would trade Dame Lillard, because Dame Lillard has the same.
No, not Dame. No, I'm talking about somebody else. I'm talking about a couple of other players, maybe a draft pick or something like that, because you need Dame Lillard and CJ to be able to shoot and not need him to score. I'm talking about when you have bona fide scorers, then you could add him to a team like that where you don't need Ben Simmons to score. He needs to go somewhere where he doesn't have to score.
Or the pressure of him doesn't have to be on him to score. Right. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts? Where would you like to see him land at?
I mean, it's kind of messed up that this guy is becoming a scapegoat for this team. The team is obviously inept. It's more than him. He hasn't been a great shooter ever. So it's sad he's taking the brunt of this. But I think if he's going to end up somewhere, maybe somewhere like Dallas, you know, maybe Dallas could use definitely a specialist, a guy that can pass the ball, a guy that can do some defense, facilitate a little bit. I think he could be used in Dallas.
No, the funny thing is I think he needs to go somewhere where there's a veteran on the team, and he's going to school him and give him the ropes. That's I think he's going to do that. But now let me ask you guys about the.
I mean, he's a veteran. He's been in the league 14 years.
Who?
Simmons. I mean, he ain't no rookie.
Simmons been in the league 4 years, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. That's an eternity.
Yeah, but
man.
I'm saying he needs a veteran, he literally needs a Jimmy Butler type, a Rajon Rondo type of guy.
Wasn't Jimmy Butler in Philly?
Yeah, that's why I said I think it'd be great for him to go down to Miami where Jimmy's down, because they already know each other. They could build a great response and everything else.
But them boys weren't listening to Jimmy. Jimmy was telling them big boy stuff.
Yeah, Jimmy left because he don't like him. Jimmy don't like him anyway.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. I know
because of the way they play. Hey, listen.
I think Jimmy Butler left because he didn't like the coach. Y'all remember the coach at the time? He wouldn't like the way the coach was calling the plays and everything.
How about this? Maybe it was Doc Rivers.
No. I hate to wait. Listen, I hate to make Ben Simmons a scapegoat here. And let me just say, I don't think he really is, but on the 76ers, he's the number 2 guy. Is the number 2 guy in the playoffs, you got to score more than 5 points. And when you have an open dunk against Trae Young and you're 6'10", you got to take it.
But nobody is stating the obvious. Jimmy Butler left because the Philly strip clubs are horrible.
That's a fact. I'm glad you brought that up. That is a bona fide.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
This is one of the moments where I'm gonna say I don't know.
Maybe it's Doc Rivers.
I don't know. All right, let me ask you this, Talent. What did you think of overall? What did you think about the Sixers series? And obviously against the Hawks and thing. And what did you learn from watching the Sixers series? And I'm gonna start by saying this. This is what I learned. I learned that we are giving too much credit to Joel Embiid. That's my point. You know what I mean? I think we're giving too much credit to Joel Embiid. I think he's a great player. I think he could be in some MVP discussions and everything else. But to me, the MVP and the shining star of your team needs to shine bright when it counts the most. And turning the ball over in the last couple of minutes, bro, I was like, that's a wrap for me with him. That's what I learned.
Joel Embiid is just comedy. That's Joel Embiid. I've been saying it all year. Fig's been arguing with me. You've been arguing with me. his name started being trickled in the MVP conversation. Everybody's going, no, look at the numbers, look at the stats. I said, yeah, okay. But but every year he implodes, he lets you know, but this year's different. He has a ways to go. He has all the makings and all the natural attributes to be who you are saying he is, but he is not that guy yet. He said it himself a season and a half ago. He just, it's people who we had a guest on here, and I think it was Bonzi Wells or somebody, and they mentioned that the problem with Joel Embiid is that he loves the celebrityism of being an NBA star. He loves all that things, the accolades that go along with it, but he's not that guy that's setting the bar for himself to raise up. He's not the first in the gym, last out. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. He does just enough to do that. Guys who do just enough in a league like this, with the LeBrons, with the Damian Lillards, with the Kawhi Leonards, the guys that are busting their ass, so to speak, to get to that next level, a league full of guys busting their ass, going above and beyond, that guy's always going to, he's always a sore thumb. He's always going to show out, man. You're always going to see what he really is. The cream comes to the top, not the bottom. When you finish your cup of coffee, the cream ain't at the bottom.
Cream's at the top. Fig, what did you learn from the Sixers Hawks series? What did you learn the most that your takeaway that you might not have known at the beginning of the series?
That I didn't know. I'll tell you this. I didn't learn anything that I didn't know about the series, but what it did for me is that it reinforced my position on positionless basketball is a bunch of BS, and there's no such thing. Joel Embiid should not be bringing your ball up at 7 feet, 280 pounds. He should not be your point guard. And Trae Young can't play center. So there's no such thing as positionless basketball. That's some BS that they made up so that we could go along with whatever this narrative is that all players could play all positions. No, they can't. Dame Lillard and Trae Young cannot play center. So basically what you're saying is if you tall, then you should be able to play all positions. Not true. It's just not true.
The only way they can play center is if everybody else around them is shorter. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts on the Sixers Hawks series? What'd you take away from it?
I mean, the Hawks were better than we thought they were. Nate McMillan did a superb job coaching these guys up. I watched some footage of him talking about that they went through a phase where they couldn't close games out. They were losing games in the third and fourth quarter. And these guys have mastered not falling apart at the end. And so there's always a maturation process for a team. We got to watch that in the Hawks this series. And maybe we get to also watch it with Philadelphia. Philadelphia ain't done. They still a team of the future. And the future should be next year or so. But they may blow that team up now. So, again, might be Doc.
Funny thing is he keeps saying it might be Doc. And I asked you guys that question a couple of weeks ago. I literally said, is Doc to blame? But, nobody paid attention to me. So
no. Your question was, if Doc loses, is he gone?
First of all, all year, Frank, you was praising Doc, talking about he was getting these guys to play at a certain level. I told you they are who they are. Like, it's Doc or no Doc. Doc's a good coach. We know that. But Doc or no Doc, these players, these two ones and twos, the Ben Simmons and the Embiids, they're going to be who they are. You can't, a coach can only give you fundamentally sound advice and tell you the game as he sees it from the outside, looking from the outside. He can't get out there and actually dunk the ball. He can't get out there and throw the chest pass and the bounce pass. He's not allowed to play during the game. These guys, it's up to them. I think you got to do some changes with this team. This team, like Rodney said, they're not over, they're not finished, but there needs to be a tweak. Ben Simmons maybe need to go somewhere, and you may need to get another bona fide guy at that position. You mentioned Lowry or whatever, and move on because they're not completely bums. They just got to plug a few holes.
All right, let's move on. Because I could argue with you, Talent, and say that the Sixers did have the best.
So you gonna move on or not? What you gonna do?
I could do that, but I'm not gonna argue with you about that part. I'm not gonna argue with you. And Rodney, don't interrupt me no more.
Hey, I could argue with you, but I'm not. But here goes.
All right, now, seriously, let me ask you guys about the next series because I don't know if you guys watched the Nets Bucks series and everything else, but I'm gonna say this, man. If people were thinking that Kevin Durant was all worldly and everything else, and at least one of, if not the best player in the world, I think he definitely proved that over the weekend because of the simple fact being he showed up in prime time. He played almost every minute, if not every minute, in the last two games, and he carried the Nets team on his back by himself without a lot of help from James Harden, who is still hobbled, and without Kyrie Irving and everything else. So before I jump into certain questions about the series, let me just first ask you, Talent, what you think about the Nets Bucks series? What was your thoughts, your initial takeaway?
I love the series. You know, the reason I love that series is because, remember, we started with a massive blowout. And two things could have easily took the air out of that tire called the Buck. One is the blowout, and two, before the blowout, just going against this super team. Mentally could have took a toll. They could have laid down. Let's be honest. The Bucks could have laid down in maybe 4 or 5 games and half of them not be competitive. But they stuck it out. Even after that ass, and I mean ass kick. That's right. One for the archives right there. Even after that behind whooping, they came back with a plan and started making every game competitive. Win or lose, those games started to be competitive. There is not a doubt in my mind. KD has proved himself to me when he went mano-a-mano against LeBron years ago before he got injured. So I know what he was, but unfortunately, that's the problem with the super team. You know, we all watch the Marvel movie. Once a couple of superheroes go missing, things, you know, shit hits the fan. Remember, they couldn't find Captain America for a while.
Fig, let me throw it to you and ask you the same thing. And then let me say this. At the beginning of the series, or actually after the blowout, I said it's really hard for a team after they blow somebody out to win that series because usually it doesn't. If you blow somebody out, you know, the history says that you're gonna have some problems. What's your thoughts, Fig? What you think about the Nets Bucks series?
Here I go. Pelican brief alert. I don't know if you guys remember, but right after the blowout, the referees allowed the Bucks to play super aggressive the next 2 games. And it severely impacted the way that the Nets were able to play because the Bucks were allowed to play so aggressive. After that, you know, after the big thing and all the talking heads were talking about the referees, they went back to refereeing the game the way that it is supposed to be, according to the rules. And the Bucks were able to, you know, to eke out a couple games and win. Last but not least, when you have a super team, your chances of having a good bench is slim to none. And God forbid, either one of them get hurt like Kyrie and James Harden, you have nobody to come off the bench to help you. So if you're going to have a super team, they better stay healthy because you ain't got nobody else sitting on that bench that could probably help you out just in case they go down.
Yeah, and if you decide you want to stomp on the leprechaun, you better be careful of what juju could come back on you when you stomp on that leprechaun.
So you know the leprechaun twisted Kyrie's ankle?
Remember that. That has nothing to do with anything in life. And Fig thing is a little invalid because, let's be honest, the Nets have a dope-ass bench. They got another starting 5 sitting there.
We could go there, but first let me ask Rodney Perry what he thinks. Rodney Perry, what you think about the Nets Bucks series? What was your thoughts on that series?
I mean, the Bucks did get really scrappy, really physical. They got up inside of KD. But like I said last week, KD could do it. He could carry this team if need be, and he did, man. I mean, the guy was all world. But at the same time, do you get to be all world if you don't win? It's great. It's great to say that KD was wonderful and he did a tremendous job, but he came up short. Anybody else come up short, he ain't nothing that next day. And this guy's all world after a loss, really?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's all world after a loss.
Yes.
You like LeBron James. If LeBron James is all world,
Yes.
AD is all world.
Hey, Fig, I heard LeBron James 4 times without him saying LeBron James.
I know. Ain't that something? LeBron James is 4-6 in the finals, and we talking about all world.
You're a genius, Rodney.
Who is 4? What's the 4? What does that 4 mean? What's that number? Are those 4 wins?
What's the 6 mean? What's that number?
I know what I'm saying. How many you got?
How many you got?
I ain't claiming that. I ain't saying that the best player in the league ain't the best player in the league.
Me neither.
You are. You saying he's the best player in the league. This guy's all world in a loss. How many times you said on this show, all the guy has to do is win.
Can I
ain't call him the GOAT, Rodney. I ain't say he better than Michael Jordan.
He ain't better than LeBron James.
Yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, he's not. He's a loser.
He beat him head to
He's
head.
a loser.
Head to head.
All right, guys, hold on. Let me ask you guys this. If you're the Nets, right, because we're going to jump back into this argument in a minute. If you're the Brooklyn Nets talent, do you make any different changes? Do you do anything to the team right now? Because honestly, to me, Brooklyn Net is built to win if everybody can stay healthy.
That's all it is. Yeah, here's the thing. Until they make it where you can trade for health, I can't give you 2 players for some good knees. I can't give you, until you can make a
wow.
I want to give up Kyrie for 2 hamstrings. You can't do it yet. So until that happens, I mean, and this goes for not just a super team, anything. You play the game. All of us who've ever stepped on the court, even if we just pick up ball, we know that there's a risk of us tweaking something or injuring something or breaking something. That's just the human body. That's anatomy. All they have to do is play and hope or try to be, maintain their body best to their ability. If they get the best same team is healthy, we already know where that series pretty much going. I don't change anything from the Nets.
How about you, Fig? You change anything if you're the Nets?
Not at all. Not one iota. Not one little piece. I'll tell you why. What Talent said is really true. They do have a significant bench, except some key pieces on their bench were actually injured also. They got injured early on. So if those guys are healthy, even with Kyrie and KD with Kyrie and James Harden going down, I think they'd be able to win. If they have Dinwiddie, I still think they beat the Bucks. If Dinwiddie could come out and play the way that he's been playing along with Kevin Durant, I think the Nets still beat the Bucks.
It's funny you said Dinwiddie because now he's a unrestricted free agent. He just declared for free agency yesterday or the day before. He's about
Let's go Knicks.
Yeah,
let's go Knicks.
He decided that he wants to test the free agent market. What you think, Rodney Perry? Do you think the Nets should do anything?
I mean, they probably shouldn't, to be honest. But I think if we learn nothing more this year is that what people look like on paper is not always what happens on the court. We found out that heart is just as valuable as a person with the most skills. And some of these teams came out there with tremendous heart. And also we found out in a shortened season, cats get injured at a higher rate.
Yeah.
So this season coming up is going to be our first legitimate season post-COVID. So we're going to see the emergence and the return of Denver. We're going to see the return of the Golden State Warriors. We're going to see the return of the Lakers. We're going to see the return of it's going to be a lot of teams. I think Philly is coming back with a vengeance. Boston, if they can get some keys out there, they come back with a vengeance. I mean, it's going to be a lot of teams. I mean, I think this coming season will be the most competitive season in NBA history.
Yeah, I could agree with everything he said. I can't disagree with one thing he said because
absolutely, Boston already made some moves, right, Frank?
Yeah, and they're getting ready to make some more. And speaking of moves and everything else, word is now that Kemba Walker might actually land up on the Lakers. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be some moves that's going to be made and everything else. So let me ask you guys this: a team that nobody's talking about in the playoffs right now, the Milwaukee Bucks and everything else now. So Milwaukee look pretty good going into the Eastern Conference Finals right now against the Hawks. I don't think anybody thinks the Hawks is going to beat Milwaukee and everything else. But regardless of what happens, I think the Atlanta Hawks, Milwaukee Bucks series would be interesting. And then Atlanta still accomplished a lot by making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. What's your thoughts on this count on Milwaukee?
I think that my thoughts on this is this. First of all, kudos to Atlanta. Rodney owes an apology to the Knicks now that he see how good Atlanta actually is, right? So don't not today, Rodney. Whenever you feel comfortable. I think that, first of all, I think it's a skate walk for Milwaukee to the finals because they're just oversized.
Yeah.
They're not over talented. I think the Hawks are super talented, but in basketball, it does 9 times out of 10, it will come down to size. And I think you got 4 7-footers, if not 5, on the Bucks. And I think that you remember it brings me to the thought of back when Jordan versus Ewing. Chicago Bulls got smart enough to get 5 7-footers, right, including Cartwright, and none of them could match like 1/3 of the talent of like a Patrick Ewing, but 5 of them rotating in and out the game against one big dude like that. They swallowed us up like Paul. They swallowed us up like marshmallows. It was like every time it came down to the big, and I was our key player, Patrick Ewing. So it's okay. We're gonna beat you in the big front. I think Milwaukee's gonna beat the hell out of them with the 7-footers, of course, with I.E. the Greek Freak. I think it's gonna be a smooth sailing for Milwaukee. Now the question is, who they're gonna end up playing.
Right. All right, Freak, what's your thoughts on Milwaukee right now?
Milwaukee looks really, really, really tough, man. Like Talent said, they got some 7-footers over there. They got Lopez. They got Giannis. Middleton has emerged as a bona fide star. His mid-range games is off the hook right now. I mean, this kid can't miss. Giannis has got his mental together. He's taking outside shots, mid-range shots. He seems like he's learned how to defeat a team when they build a wall against him. To sum it up all in one little phrase, I think Talent said it best: size matters.
What's your thoughts, Rodney Craig? What's your thoughts?
It's interesting watching the game right now because all these teams you don't expect to do nothing. They're proving that look, guys, we're men. We're men. We play. I think the Bucks proved that they were men, and I felt like they were going to lose that series. And everybody looking now, and now the Bucks have become the Nets. And like, oh, they just going to run over Atlanta Hawks. I don't know if that's a foregone conclusion. Man, like Tyler says, my apologies to the Knicks for getting their ass whooped by the Hawks. You're right. Because the Hawks have proven to be good.
Right.
These guys are good, and this trade guy knows how to get a shot out of nothing. It ain't there, and he still find a way. It's really been impressive to watch. So I can't say I think the Hawks are going to win, but I can definitely say I won't be surprised if they do because they look like they got a leprechaun in their goddamn back pocket.
Hey man, you got to work on your apologies, man. He said he apologized, but it sounds so vigorous. He's like, "Yeah, I apologize." I don't know. That didn't feel right.
You can't get an apology and then disrespect the apology, man. I'm working on my inner self. I'm trying to be a better guy, Talent.
Now, let me just throw this out there too to you guys, man. The one thing is, I don't know if I heard it talk about everything else, Ben, but 4 of the last 4 teams. 3 of the last 4 teams have black head coaches, man. And honestly, if I was to give a head coach right now, one of the best coaches of the playoffs award right now, you got to say Nate McMillan is the man right now. I mean, because I don't think anybody saw the Hawks doing this good. Everything else, I just don't. Especially undermanned, under talent, and everything else. But
it's fundamentals, though. It's fundamental because Nate McMillan coached them the WNBA.
Yeah.
So this team is wrought with fundamental basketball, and they've been killing it, man.
I agree.
You know what? I'm going to add to that real quick. I'd like to give Trae Young a lot of credit because this kid, undersized, he's not the shooter that Steph Curry is, but he's really making a difference. What he can do from the outside and his ability to get into the paint and to break down the defense is proved to be really tough for the teams that they're playing to be able to defend. So let's see that kid as an emerging superstar, in the NBA right now.
So he faded last game, didn't score a lot of points, but still had a lot of assists. So he found a way to be an impact the game even when he wasn't scoring good. And that's what your boy in Philly kind of faded. He didn't impact the game another way.
So here's the question. The question I'm trying to ask is that, do you think you guys are going to see the emergence now of more black head coaches? You know what I mean? Because right now there was only the black head coaches didn't even make up a tenth of in the league. Even though the league is predominantly African American. So you think the run that's getting ready to happen now in the NBA playoffs, we should see an adjustment or some kind of things where the NBA owners are not going to keep recycling the same old white head coaches?
No. Long as the powers that be are in the seat they're in, that's not going to change nothing. When we shine through, no matter if we're a coach, a player, assistant coach, whatever, they look at us as anomalies. That's how they just do. It ain't no different than the comedy game. You get to the comedy club too late. We already got our black guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fig, what's your thought?
Frank, I think we got a little more than the 10th because it's like 30 teams in the NBA. It's not significant, but listen, the black coaches have been known to do very well. The Mark Jacksons, you know what I mean? Right now we're seeing Nate McMillan, Doc Rivers won a championship. I mean, we know the game. I mean, especially those guys that actually play the game. A lot of them know it in and out. I'd like to see Mark get another opportunity, to Sam Cassell's and stuff like that. We need more, but unfortunately, the people who are making the decisions are hiring their friends, and they don't look like us.
Rodney Perry, your thoughts?
Will we see more black coaches? I'm reminded of Snoop Dogg back when Snoop hit, and Snoop was a phenomenal guy. And then they went to Long Beach and they found, other people. That may happen. That may happen. And I agree with my colleagues here. I don't know if it's going to happen in drastic numbers, but there's got to be some more people to get looks because of the job that these guys are doing. It's got to. I don't think we're going to see it, where we're going to see it tick up 5 percentage points, but we'll see it where it'll tick up at least 2 or 3 more coaches.
Right. Do you think the opportunity talent will lead to more women coaches? Because honestly, if we're not going to get some black head coaches, do you think we might get some women head coaches? I mean, because there's a 2 women head coaches sitting on the sideline right now who's supposed to be able to be really good.
Yeah, unfortunately, prejudice, bias in all forms of employment, they will go to women before they go to a bunch of black males. So I do believe that. I believe like the Becky Hammonds and the young ladies with some experience will start to get their chops and their chances before you get a slew of black coaches, if you will. Again, that's just the way we're deemed, man. We're looked a certain way. If we do something great, then it's just you. Just Frank is great. Like there's no more greatness out there. But if you do something bad, then see, look how they are. Yeah,
that's a great point. Fig, you thought?
Man, he about to make me pull out my Fight the Power album. Hey man, listen. It seems as though when black people, black men especially, are fighting for equality or just a equal chance, they bring in all these other groups to jump over us. You know what I mean? And to get ahead of the line and say, well, hey, look, we got this. And they put that in front of your face. I don't think that women should not get an opportunity, but there are a lot of black men who have played the position as assistant coach. And we know for a fact that they also played the game and are highly qualified. Your Jason Kidds and Sam Cassell's, all those guys. Like to see Mark Jackson get another opportunity. So hopefully, we hope as we keep fighting that black coaches will get another opportunity to lead a team to success like they've already done this year.
Rodney Perry, what you think?
I don't know who Mark Jackson pissed off, but I don't know if we ever gonna see him coach again. But and I think the guy's a tremendous guy, great human being. But he pissed off the wrong human being in the NBA somewhere. So the question is, we see women. They're definitely teeing up women. Shaq said on TNT last night, just out of nowhere, and we should be able to see some women coaches real soon. Something like that. He just said it out of nowhere, and I was like, where that come from? And so when you start hearing that stuff in the collective consciousness, it's gonna happen. Females are definitely gonna get a shot, and how about this? It'll be like blacks coming into the league itself. It was like, first of all, it was a handful of blacks, Will Chamberlain, these guys, and then all of a sudden it was 50% of the league was black, and then all of a sudden 80% of the league was black. Right. Over the next 20 or 30 years, it's not gonna happen overnight, but I say in our lifetime, later in our lifetime, we'll see a league with almost all black coaches.
All right, next up, I wanted to ask you guys this too, man. We got to take a look at what happened in the West Coast too, because honestly, I don't think any of us thought that the Clippers was going to win the series without Kawhi and everything else. But except for you, Talon. I know Talon said something about the Clippers winning everything else. Okay, so now the Clippers are playing the Suns. The Clippers had an amazing Game 6 with Kawhi Leonard and everything else. But I'm going to ask you, Talon, do you think the Clippers are now going to go to the finals? Do you think the Clippers are going to beat the Suns? Or what's your thought on that series looking at right now? What's your thought?
I literally got to see one more game to come up with. I really believe it's anybody's series. I got to see one more game, because what's disturbing is the home team was supposed to win Game 1, took Game 1, but without a Kawhi in it, to me, it was too close. For that team to be at home and be as good as they are and end up winning by, digits, I wasn't comfortable to say, Suns going to win. It's still anybody's game. I will say this, though, Frank. If the Suns can pull this off, you talk about new rising superstar, your boy Booker, if he pulls this off, just getting to the chip, forget winning the chip, we're going to start talking more about, these are going to be names that are not household names that are going to become household names by next year.
Great thought. What's your thought, Vic?
Devin Booker has arrived on the scene as a superstar, man. That kid is just he's bona fide. I think he needs a little more seasoning, but he has definitely arrived and put the league on notice that he's here. I'm not sure who's going to win like talent. I'd like to reserve my opinion for another game or so, because the Clippers, the last two series, dropped the first two and came back to win it all. So I'm not really sure. And then they're coming off that emotional high of winning the last series and then having to do this with less than pretty much 48 hours to prepare for Phoenix. I'd like to see what the Clippers are able to do when they're a little more prepared and can set their scheme up for Phoenix the way Phoenix was able to do with them. Phoenix had a lot more rest. I'd like to see what the Clippers could do at least next game if they can match up. And Phoenix only won by a few points.
Rodney Perry, are you hitting your Clippers to see if they can work?
Yeah, man.
Look like your Clippers working.
Here's the thing about the Clippers, man. I think I got a shortage.
You got a shortage?
So the thing when you got a shortage is that sometimes the Clippers work and sometimes they don't. And so I got a screw missing right here. I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to put some tape around this bottom part, and hopefully they can stay together to win this series. Kawhi Leonard, that's that little screw right there. Turns out the Clippers work pretty good without that screw. The Clippers work pretty good without that screw. Now, I would like to see, first of all, Paul George has taken a lot of flack over the last few years. He's been the butt of all the jokes, but this guy has stepped up with a vengeance. But how about that bench? How about them other guys, man, that aren't going to be other guys next season? Those other guys are emerging, man. That dude with them dreads, I don't even know his damn name. Man, that man is a man. Man came out like, I've been waiting on Kawhi to get a ball up so I can drop these in your ass. He was balling. The dude was balling out of control, man. The dude just doesn't miss. But how about this? That damn Booker look like he from the 60s with civil rights and he got that white He got that white side. I don't know if he biracial or not, but he got an angry white man and an angry black man inside him fighting all the time.
All right, let me ask you this because the time is ticking real fast, and I'm gonna start with you, Talent Man. If you had to pick an NBA champion out of 4 teams to the left right now, who you think's gonna win? Because forget about we all gotta see everybody play it all. We know we gotta see everybody play, but if you had to pick right now, who would you say is gonna win the NBA championship? And then who do you want to win the NBA championship? Because I know it might not line up.
If we do this thing without a Kawhi, I'm going with the Bucks. If Kawhi makes a return, I'm going with the Clippers. It's just that simple. Right now, as is, if they played right now, it would be the Bucks.
Okay, and is that the team you want to win to? Does it line up?
I want the Clippers to win.
Okay, you want the Clippers to win the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fig. There's a team who you think gonna win and a team who you'd like to win line up. Is it the same two teams? Is it the same team?
I think Milwaukee will win it simply because they seem to have every piece. They have inside, they have outside, they got mid-range, and they play scrappy defense. Tucker did a hell of a job on KD, even though KD is all world. Imagine what he's going to do with other players when he plays against them. So I think they're going to do it. And if not them, then I think possibly the Clippers are able to knock it down.
All right, Rodney, who you think's going to win it, and who do you want to win it? If it's the same team,
if the team is one and the same, man. A lot of times when a team beats your team, you kind of hate them. But I like the Phoenix Suns, man. I think the Suns can do it. I think they have tremendous scoring power. I don't see nobody on the Bucks that can hold Booker. Nobody. Mm-hmm. You know, they can do it without Chris Paul, and they get it done without that guy. And so I'm gonna take the Suns the rest of the way.
The funny thing is, I think 3 teams right now can win it. I just don't think the Hawks would have a chance. I think the Bucks could win it. I think the Clippers can win it, and the Phoenix can win it. Personally, I'm rooting for Phoenix because I want to see my man Chris Paul get a ring. I just want, I really want.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
But I wouldn't be mad if Kawhi won a ring with Paul George, and I wouldn't be mad if Giannis won a ring either. But I think Milwaukee's going to win the whole thing. That's what I think.
If Ice Trey get a ring, it's going to be free at all the strip clubs for niggas 100 days. We all can come out here to Atlanta.
Rodney, if the Hawks win, get your guest room ready because me and Talon is coming.
How come I didn't get the invite? Oh, I'll already be there.
No, it's because you can't leave town. You know you can't leave.
Yeah, I know. It ain't funny. Don't put me out there. But you know the internet is watching. Don't go.
Already know.
Hilarious.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm on Strip Club Anonymous Facebook. If you see his face, call 1-800-BERNADETTE.
What, Bernadette? Hilarious.
All you got to do, Frank, to keep you faithful is move to Philly. Ain't no good strip clubs.
Ain't no good strip clubs, Philly.
You wouldn't even be trying to go to the strip club.
Hold on. I already live in a bad strip club city. Boston. I'm in Boston. There ain't no strip club in Boston. No strip club in Boston.
Coming to the stage, Amber.
Oh, no. Coming into the living room is Amber.
Oh, God.
And she got
Amber come in like this.
Yeah, and she got a limp. All right, I'm done. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching the show. Talent. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, brother. And tell everybody about your 30th anniversary coming up while we got time.
Hey, everybody, 30th anniversary coming. Look, 30 years in the game. It's a pleasure to still be relevant and rocking with great comedians like these dudes and rocking with Frank Older. I'll be celebrating July 30th. That's right. Next month, July 30th. Last whole weekend of the month in Atlantic City. You can inbox me for the details and get your room packages, your show packages all together because it's going to be a doozy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You don't want to miss it. People like Mr. Cheeks, Roxanne Shante, John Hinton, AJ Johnson. Hopefully the Box Seats whole team will be there. Figs them. Try and get Rodney there. You know what I mean? Trying to get everybody there to make it happen. You need to be in the building. So inbox me on Twitter at It's Just Comedy. If you're on the gram, Instagram is Talent the Comedian, and Facebook King Talent Harris. I want to see all of y'all in the building. Come meet us personally, man. We're great people.
Right. Wow. How many rooms left? Any rooms left?
I got 5 rooms left for room packages, but I got tickets available.
All right, there you go. Fig, tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Hey man, listen, all social media platforms at Comedian Fig, box seats Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. And on that weekend, Talent's 30th birthday. Let's see, baby!
Rodney Perry, how about everybody out there they can follow you, bro?
I'm easy to find Rodney Perry live on all social media. I'm in Houston tomorrow with Ali Sadiq at the Improv tomorrow night, Houston. And yeah, I'll be on. I might be traveling doing the show tomorrow, but hopefully I can make it.
All right, there it is. Thank you for even giving me the heads up. I appreciate that. Hey, everybody, that's the show. Box Seats at the show. Humor Mills, the channel. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Take care. Peace.